We are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports? We hope that you guys are making it a good one. We know that we are as well. We do have a huge show in store for you tonight. Not a very huge Facebook audience as expected for tonight, as they have been hacked apparently. That's why I've been pushing for everyone to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have over 6,000 people that follow us since we've had to restart the Facebook page on that platform. We have over 4,300 that follow us on Twitter, and a lot of people follow us on Apple and Spotify. So Facebook is the only place we're down. Of course it is, because they don't want to hear the truth. What's the truth, damn it? The truth is that we do have a big show in store for you tonight. We will talk some LSU Auburn recap, hashtag with some Ruffino's rants that's going to be in there. I think that everybody knows what is probably going to come out my mouth, but we need to talk about it. As I rewatched the game again today and broke things down late last night, there are some things that we need to talk about. So Ruffino's rants, LSU versus Auburn breakdown. Who would you rather if a new administration is indeed coming for LSU? Who would you want? We'll let you put inside the comments who it is that you would want. We will go around the SEC as we do every Monday and Thursday. We'll probably be doing that every single day as we're going to be trying to expand more into the SEC, and your Rudy Poos of the week that you can fire in there. I know my Rudy Poo of the week is probably, well, I'll save mine there to the end. I will save mine there to the end. But let's get to a couple of these comments. I don't expect anybody from Facebook, but we are live from there. Let's see. Brian and Annie Pitton says, O has to go. Jeff in the borough. God, you know it's Kentucky week when you got Jeff Neal, Jeff in the borough, commenting on our show. The ultimate chain smoker himself, Jeff in the borough, is commenting in AYS. He says, you better believe it, and the game is a sellout Saturday night. Okay. Well, if you're here to talk some LSU, we will get to you. All right, so let's do this. We got a lot to get into. Let's pay some bills around this thing, and then we'll get started. Guys, we are live from the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com, live in on location. Just talked to Ryan himself, the man who is half part of the team. Give him a call today at 985-386-7600, 985-386-7600, or go to the drakewilliamslawfirm.com. And our good friends over at betonline.ag. Guys, after the show, you want to play some bets, go over to betonline.ag. Use the mobile device, set up, sign up, use your 50% welcome bonus, use the podcast tab, and since you're in the state of Louisiana, they will know that your good friend Blake Ruffino sent you on by. It's betonline.ag, betonline.ag. You're probably all wondering why I didn't do GMFS. No, I'm just joking. I mean, GM Varno and Sons. We will get to them. Our good friends over at GM Varno and Sons, who helped the brother out. Guys, Thursday, I had a flat tire coming in to the show. Coming into the show, I had a flat tire, and they helped the brother out. I do see that we are live on Facebook, but nobody's really able to comment. We will get to the comments as I see them on Facebook as well. Do me a favor by hitting the like and share there as well. Ryan Thibodeau says, but I would ask everybody that's on Facebook right now, currently, make your way over to YouTube, AYS Sports. Since we're having the technical, or Facebook's having the technical difficulties, do us a favor, go over to YouTube, AYS Sports. You'll click the tab. Everybody go over there. We'd really appreciate it. Ryan Thibodeau says, it's about to go down like Facebook. Get your popcorn ready. Well, Ryan, it is about to go down. And, and it's not, you don't have to get your popcorn ready like Lane Kiffin, because I think that we're going to be a little bit more prepared and act a little bit more with class than what Lane Kiffin did on Saturday. I'll probably give my takes around on that around the SEC, since we are getting these comments from the hashtag Rudy Crew in the YouTube chat. Guys, I rewatched the game, and the things that I took away in the second half were startling. There are things that I took away in the first half that were startling. For the life of me, I don't understand why. I don't understand why LSU does what they do offensively. Like, it's very tough for me to comprehend what they are doing. Now, Ed Orgeron spoke with the media today and multitudes of times says, guys, put all the blame on me. Put all the blame on me. Like he was told to say that. For all of you that are listening and that will listen to the podcast right after the show, Ed Orgeron in his press conference today was asking the media if that was all the questions he had in a very short press conference. Well, they weren't done. There was a technical difficulty in muting all of the media members. Ed didn't want to address it. Ed Orgeron can say all he wants to about, all this blames on me, but then you do stuff like that. What he should be focusing on, and I'm sure that there's things that's going to come out in the near future that everyone's going to know about, that some recent events that happened. I'm not personally going to go there yet. But for me, LSU has a serious problem on the field. Serious problem, and not even defensively. It's majority, if not all of it, offensively. Now, a lot of people are complaining to me. A lot of people are complaining to me about Max Johnson. Ladies and gentlemen of AYS, ladies and gentlemen that follow and like and love LSU football, I don't know what else you can really fully expect Max Johnson to do going into his seventh start. Because let me ask you this question. Is there another quarterback, not just in the SEC, not just in college football, but even in the NFL, even in high school football, that's having to go up against a team that's putting 9 people in coverage? LSU refusing to run the football when there's only 2 linemen that are going after the passer. 2! When I rewatch the game, and this is going to get me killed, but I posted evidence. I posted the evidence on Twitter today. Stop telling me LSU doesn't have some success in the running game. Because when I see Corey Kiner busting a run for 11 yards, and then you give the true freshman, the very talented freshman at that, the carry on 4th down, when you have a walk-on tight end for your jumbo package, and he runs over the best linebacker in the SEC, in my opinion, in Jacoby McClain, to get you the first down. Then Max Johnson scrambles, gets hit out of bounds, and then you have to settle for a field goal because you get away from running the football. Guys, in the second half, and mainly in the fourth quarter, there were times where Max Johnson, shout out to my good friend Preston Guy, LSU threw the ball 12 straight times, 2 of those, and he posted it on Twitter, meaning Preston, who broke down the offensive series. I think it was 3 or 4 offensive series, where LSU threw the ball every down. Not even a sniff or an inkling of trying to run the football. Now, Orgeron was asked today by Scott Rabelais, who was with the Advocate, if Steve Ensminger needs to make his way into the booth. And Ed said, and I'm quoting, "That's a good idea," with an R. That's a good idea. I'm honestly at a loss for words. The most Ed Orgeron thing ever is for LSU to find a way to go up to Lexington and win. But the most dangerous thing for LSU right now is for them to go 9-3. What do I mean by that? LSU goes 9-3, Orgeron's not getting fired. That's the bad right now in some people's eyes, and I'm getting very close to being there, if I'm not already there. The best thing for LSU is to continue to have success and go 9-3, have a strong recruiting class, continue to build on success that you have. But it's the best and worst thing that could happen to LSU football right now. Now, I don't think LSU's going 9-3. They don't have the coaching staff offensively to get there. We blame Steve Ensminger for the lack of offensive innovation, but now we are seeing that Orgeron is the lack of offensive. I don't even want to use, I guess I could even use the word of creativity. The team's not physical up front offensively. But when I watch games and I see Corey Connor busting off for 11 and then going for it on 4th and 1 to kick you a field goal so that you're up 9 points in the fourth quarter or second half rather, and he runs a dude over, what in the F word are you doing by not giving that man the football? What are you doing by not running the football? It is easy as this, as Orgeron doing this. Hey, Jake, I'm acting like I'm Orgeron, talking to Jake Peets. Hey, Jake, look, I know we're trying to get first downs and be aggressive. Sprinkle some runs in there. Orgeron, here's a play. Hey, If you're going to do the check with me bullshit, check into a run now. It's as simple as that. I think Jake Peets is an innovative guy. I think he's a good guy. I think he's, quite honestly, a very smart guy. I do. I think he's over his skis. I think he's got hands tied behind his back because of the incompetence that's up top. Now, I am going to get blackballed for some of the things that I say. So what do I mean by that? The favoritism that I was getting from that staff in the past is over now. They've all but told me that. But if you're worried about what the media is telling you, or guys like me who's growing a podcast and growing a business is saying about you when you're getting your teeth kicked in, you're making Bo Nix look like Johnny Manziel, and you don't even know how to run the football through 4 weeks or now 5 weeks worth of football, what are you blaming everybody else for? You have to take the constructive criticism of what you've done. You're a game above 500. You're LSU. Again, I've explained this before. It is Alabama, and it is LSU. Ohio State doesn't have what you have right now currently from a wins perspective. They can have more guys in the NFL. They can have more wins on paper. So can Georgia. They don't have the national titles that you have in the last 20 years. There are no more excuses. There are no more excuses. And I'm tired of hearing them. I'm tired of coming out here trying to be somewhat positive and point out positive spots, because I can sit here and say, guys, the defense, although outside of tackling Bo Nix in the open field, which sometimes you just got to tip your cap at a man who's doing what he's doing, at some point you have to sit back and say the defense, and I feel this way. I think that Durante Jones, quite honestly, is the most competent coach that you might have right now. As much as that man was made fun of when the hire was made and during the offseason, quite honestly, he is your best coach. Damone Clark doing a lot better, putting guys in the right position. Offensively, we're a joke. We don't have an identity. Here is my biggest complaint from Orgeron. For the last 4 weeks, we have asked Orgeron why they are doing this check with me absolute dog shit. And he kept saying, well, we're having troubles with the plays, and we got to get them called in quicker. You are the head coach. Tell him to call a play, and if a defense is lined up in a position that's not favorable, you let your quarterback check out of it. What the frick word do you think Burrow was doing all through 2019? Joe Brady confirmed that. Steve Ensminger confirmed that. And I know Blake stopped talking about 2019. So let's turn that page tonight. What the frick do you think Drew Brees does? What do you think Dak Prescott does? What do you think Brady and all the greats do? And you have to let your quarterback go. He is a peacock. You got to let him fly, because the incompetence that you have offensively doesn't all come from Jake Peets. It comes from Ed Orgeron. If you don't know football, get the hell out. Get the hell out. Stop making excuses. Tell me you don't know. Tell me you don't know. Because if there is just an inkling of understanding, you can tell them to stop doing it. And if they don't, take the play calls away from him. If he's that dumb, take him away. I'm not here for the bullshit with him anymore. Ted says it's not Max, it's the offensive line, dude. Well, then explain to me what Corey Connor's doing. And before you pop the stats up in my face, before you do that and tell me Corey Connor's not having success and did not have success Saturday night, rewatching that game, Ted, you gave the kid a ball on 4th and 1. Yeah, it's going to skew his stats when everybody on God's green earth, on God's green planet, knows that LSU's running the football inside zone. They know it. If you're not mad about what you're seeing, guys, I don't know anymore. The best thing Joe Oliva did was he said, didn't I tell you that Les Miles sucked? We can blame Oliva all we want. We should, and he was not a good athletics director. At least he fired that incompetent son of a bitch. And I will call him that because of what he did off the field. The eating grass like he's a damn horse. No. Yeah! Daniel Bentley, read up on Chris Peterson. I would take him. Guys, personally, I don't think he's a fit. All right, let's get to a couple of these comments. Everybody that's on Facebook, do us a favor by hitting the like and share. Please follow us and go follow us on YouTube as well. If your Facebook feed is having issues, just go over to AYS Sports on YouTube. If you're unable to comment as well, you can do that. Don't forget to subscribe. Jamal says, O is not going anywhere with Max as a sophomore. That's not true. That's not true. That's completely not true. Alex sends us $5 in the super chat, the Rudy Crew super chat. He says, I'm not a Fire O guy, but with that said, Bill O'Brien from Alabama looks very impressive as LSU's head coach. For LSU, your thoughts? Let me say this, and we will go on later in the show, and I would ask you guys, would you rather, or who would you take rather? Bill O'Brien early is a guy that a lot of people have not confirmed, but have thrown his name out to me that is going to be on Scott Woodward's list. So you can like that, love that, or hate that. But let's take what Scott Woodward does. And, I mean, what is his history of hiring athletic or just head coaches? Most head coaches that he's gone after, and I'll even throw Jay Johnson in there, are offensive-minded. Chris Peterson from Boise State to Washington. When he's at A&M, he goes and gets Jimbo Fisher. And before you blame him for the Jimbo Fisher hire, I mean, Texas A&M, they had to do it. They had to do that. And quite honestly, last season was the most success that A&M had maybe since the 60s. I do think that Woodward would go after a coach that has an offensive pedigree, and I think that he prerequisite is they need to be a head coach at some point in some facet, which would a lot of people would say make Joe Brady tell you no. I'm very nervous about that. If it would ever come to that, I love Joe Brady more than the next LSU fan. What I'm nervous about is that he's never been a head coach. And as great as his offense may be, and as great as Sam Darnold looks right now, how can he recruit, which is something that he did not like to do at all? And how would he form a defensive staff? I don't know if LSU guys, we have seen with Jake Peets that this is not a place where you cut your teeth to learn on the job. And I feel that they would be a lot of the same way. So I'm not with that. But Bill O'Brien is a guy that a lot of people have talked about. Mikey says, I got a feeling we are about to lose a lot of talent. Stingley's dad was in his ear, and there will be others. And Brandon says, Pete's literally has 4 plays he runs over and over and over again and makes 0 adjustments. Well, he does very good. He does very good in the first, and I said this Saturday night after the game. He is very good at his first scripted 15 plays. After that, and like I forget who was saying it, but after the first 15 plays, he's absolute dog shit. I'm sorry. It is what it is. Guys, he makes – imagine this. They had Auburn at, I think, 7 plays in the game, had times where 9 people were in coverage. The 2 guys that were technically accounted for in the pass rush were just simply going out to the flat. And you didn't run the football. This O-line is horrendous from some people's opinion. But one thing that they will get a push and you will get yardage, 5, 6, 7 yards when you are able to only have 2 guys coming or really just pursuing either the run or the pass. How am I seeing that from a television screen and they aren't? Like, how? I that part I can't comprehend. I can't comprehend it. Looks like we got some Facebook comments falling in here. Okay. Jacob Marceau says the fact they didn't feed Connor shows that they have 0 on how to call plays they need to feed him. Well, there's always this concern about running backs and protection and what they need to do. But man, my thing is that you threw to running backs out of the backfield. Ty Davis Price was a guy who's got 2 targets on the year, and he's got 2 catches. Stop making excuses. I'm really tired of the excuses. I am very, very tired of the excuses. I can't really do them anymore. Let's see. All right, let's get to a couple more of these comments, and then we'll continue to go down. Kenny Russell says, mark my words, O will start meddling in that offense the more his seat gets warmer. Well, I mean, look, he was doing it, Kenny. He was doing it Saturday night. Kenny, he's been doing it. He's been the guy that's been meddling in the offense. You know, I even Saturday night and today, or last night, I guess technically, when LSU went for it on 4th down and Connor runs over Zagobi McClain and they get the first down, Orgeron puts it, because it's always like this. He puts the mic on his headset down, and he's telling Pete, well, that was really close. Somebody needs to get the freshman out. I mean, to some extent, I'm kind of paraphrasing. Ed, he's your best running back. Your best receivers are freshmen outside of Kayshon Boutte. And I haven't even gotten to that yet. One yet. How in the F word does it take you the first series out of the half, Kayshon Boutte has a catch. Kayshon Boutte doesn't have a catch the rest of the night. You try to get him the ball, the one that he dropped on the sidelines, you're asking a lot out of a kid. You don't get your best playmaker involved in the second half. Guys, he had 4 catches on that first drive. Again, scripted plays from Jake Peets. And let's not even call him the best player on LSU's team. Let's call it what it truly is. The best player on the field for both teams. And you didn't utilize him in the second half. You only went to him when you were struggling and you had to go down and score. Jake Peets running the football on with Ty Davis Price with 1:45 left to go. Hey, you want a prime example of what happens when LSU runs the football when 9 guys are in coverage? Ty Davis Price, outside zone of all things the worst run play you can call when 9 guys are in coverage, and he still picks up 8 yards. It schematically, it's the worst that I've ever seen at LSU. At least I knew, and you could say less, and I get it, but at least Les had an identity, and you were going to have to stop it. I mean, it's the truth. There wasn't any creativity from Les, but what Les would do and what Les teams were, they were physical, toss dive, punch somebody in the mouth, quick slant, quick catch, maybe a ball over the top every now and then just to keep somebody honest and get somebody out, a safety out of the box. That was the Les Miles playbook. Over and over and over again. I fully believe it's like Coach Boone said on Remember the Titans. We got 6 plays. You better know them like the back of your hand. That is this offense to an extent. If you have more plays, you're not showing them. They run the same concepts and the same plays out of different formations. Over and over and over and over and over again. Jack Besh is another guy who had on the crossing route. Auburn sends a quick blitz. Max reads it. Tempo, 41 yards. Tempo's another thing that we haven't talked about. Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com says, I think I saw signs of 3 TIAs in that last rant. Transcendent attack. Well, it's the truth, Mike. I mean, it's the truth. Pooh Bear sends us $5 on the YouTube chat. What's up, my brother? He says, we have to show more grit. No trick plays or misdirection. Flare routes, screens to the running backs are missing. They are completely missing. And look, and Pooh, to your point, I would counter was, you remember the little fake reverse, the 44-yard run by Jaquez Hunter that set up the touchdown for Auburn? Like, they were doing that down with the game on the line. Auburn is running that because they knew LSU, they used LSU's aggression against them, and they would go down to score. Guys, you're the second worst team in the SEC West right now. How does that make you feel? I'm like Dr. Phil in this bitch. How does that make you feel? Of 7 teams in the SEC West, you are number 6. The only one that, well, no, let me back up. You're number 5. Let me back up because I forget it. You know, I for a second there forgot about Texas A&M. You're the 5th team in the SEC West. Pooh Bear, I appreciate you for the $5, my friend. Lonnie Young says, sorry, Blake, Matt Canada was way worse. No, Matt Canada wasn't. We don't know what Matt Canada was because Orgeron took play calls away from him. Oops. Did I say that out loud? Steve Ensminger was your coordinator during that time. Colin Thibodeau, since it's $4.99, he says, who is Bill O'Brien's agent? I don't know that. I honestly don't know that, Colin. But he is the name of everybody that I've talked to today has mentioned Bill O'Brien. That's just facts. Chad on Facebook Live says, for the life of me, I can't understand why we were running play action RPOs when we're running 12 passing plays in some series. Ain't no one biting on a play fake. And I think that to some degree, Chad, that you're right. Uh-oh. You guys got me? Says that, let's see. Looks like we're having a little bit of Wi-Fi issues. Let me get off of here. Says we're having a little bit of Wi-Fi issues. That damn Spectrum, boy, I tell you what. Let me make sure you guys can hear me. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me and it's pretty coherent. I think that you can. I think that you can hear me. Let me just make sure. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. All right. You guys can. You can hear me. We're fine. It just says that It says that our Wi-Fi is bad. Okay. Let's get to a couple more, and then we'll get to a very quick break, and then we'll get to maybe around the SEC. Brandon says, I would take 8-4 at this point. I would take 8-4 in a heartbeat. I would take 8-4 in a stinking heartbeat. But at the same point, I mean, look, Orgeron's still fired with 8-4. I'm sorry. He just is. KJ says, no Freeze, no Aranda, no Kiffin, no Meyer. Please stop the madness. Well, let's go down this one. And we can use this as the segment because we're already doing it as we talked about who would you rather. So, guys, fire in. Who is if LSU were to replace Orgeron, who would you want as your next head coach? Fire him in the chat right now. Who do you want as the next LSU head coach? Hugh Freeze won't be the next head coach at LSU just because of the stuff that happened with him at Ole Miss and the SEC. Probably won't allow it. I don't know about Dave, although I love Dave Aranda. I don't know about him because he has – I mean, look, he had a horrible season last year. They are having some success. They are having some success at Baylor, but do you hire him? Look, Lane Kiffin does rub me the wrong way sometimes in what he does in the media. I did not like the antics that Lane Kiffin showed in his pregame interview with CBS. I didn't like it. You know why I don't like it? And I say this all the time. Pettiness gets you beat. And people always say, well, Blake, what about Sean Payton? That was the comment last week about Sean Payton. Well, I was there live and in action for the Saints game, and he gets his ass beat. So I think that, look, Lane Kiffin is probably one of, if not the best offensive mind inside of college football. But, guys, this is LSU. This isn't Ole Miss. This isn't some Rudy Poos University that you can joke around and play around with. You had to show severe maturity. Because, quite honestly, Orgeron isn't, and look what's happening. People always show you glimpses of who they are. Now, people can change. But you will get glimpses of what Lane Kiffin did. And all that was scripted. If he can fix that, then I think you're okay. But, man, you're playing with hot fire if you continue to do that. Let's see. We got a $4.99 chat in here. Brian sends us $4.99 via Super Chat. Thank you, Brian. He says, what about James Franklin? He made Vanderbilt win games, and he's making Penn State win games. I think James Franklin is a very good coach. So let's get a couple of these. Actually, let's do that. I'm going to get to all of your coaching hires right after this, and then we'll go around the SEC. So let's do this. Let's pay some bills around this thing, and then we'll get back. None better than good friends over at GM Varno & Sons. Guys, with 63 years of experience, nobody's better equipped to service in your vehicle than GM Varno & Sons. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. Give them a call today at 225-664-9992. That's 225-664-9992. Or tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino sent you on by. I am a living example of the great work that they do. Just this past Thursday, I had a blowout in one of my tires blew out. First call I made, you guessed it, GM Varno & Sons. Got there, took great care of me, first class. I highly recommend it. And my good friend, Mr. John Patton over at GMFS Mortgage, GMFSmortgage.com. John Patton, he's changing lives, buying new homes, saving money on the mortgage that you have now, or even doing that cash out refi. The timing has never been better. 225-614-1234. 225-614-1234. Tell him Blake sent you on by. All right, let's get going. Let's see a lot of these coaching hires. So let's go here. Alex says O'Brien, proven game time experience. I don't really mind Bill O'Brien. He was a horrible GM, but I think that he's a great. I shouldn't say great. He is a really good head coach. My question would be about recruiting. How well is he in recruiting? He hasn't been anywhere long enough to be a good recruiter. He's been in the NFL for a long time. I really worry about him recruiting. Doug says the coach from Cincinnati, which would be, as Derek says, Luke Fickell. Luke Fickell has shown that that was not Marcus Freeman's defense. Marcus Freeman was going to be coming to LSU. He told LSU he was coming. At the end, he backed out, went to Notre Dame. Notre Dame's Rudy Poos. Their defense is not the reason why they stink. It's their offensive line as well. Luke Fickell has shown that, and look, of all things in all years for a group of 5 team to possibly make the playoff, if Cincinnati runs the table from here on out, it's and here's what, and people think it's just as easy, and it can be easier to get a guy like Luke Fickell. However, Luke Fickell and Cincinnati are a team that is about to go in the Big 12 that will still probably and more than likely be a Power 5 conference. With that being said, does Luke Fickell leave a situation that he has built from the ground up? Does he want to restart that? I will say this, however, LSU is different, obviously, than Cincinnati. Cincinnati. I think he's a good one. I like this one. John says Eric Bieniemy. I like Eric Bieniemy. Blake Quibido says Napier from ULL is running for coach at LSU if it opens. Or is he in the running? I'm sure he's down the list somewhere. I don't know how much LSU fans, old school LSU fans, would like hiring a coach from Lafayette. Jacob Cole says Cristobal, ! Or Fickell, Kiffin, or Randa. I like Brandon's here. Brandon says Lincoln Riley. Look, I think that you call everybody, right? Like I think that you call every single person that you can to see if they're available and what their interest level is. Do I think Lincoln Riley leaves Oklahoma? No. Are they having a very tough season? Yes. One thing they are, though, is winning. And Lincoln Riley is a guy that legitimately solves one side of the ball for you. The question is, can he number one, would he be a good recruiter? And number two, they've constantly had struggles when they have had good recruiting classes. They're having struggles with the number one quarterback a couple of seasons ago in Spencer Rattler. He can recruit quarterbacks. He's a guy that you don't have to worry about recruiting quarterbacks. My question is he ready for the SEC? All of these coaches have issues, and I understand that. Ooh, Bo says Chip Kelly, Kiffin, or Sam Pittman. Whew. Roger says Ryan Day. I don't know if Ryan Day would even really be out of the question. I think the toughest thing would be to get him to leave Ohio State. Like, what purpose would he leave Ohio State for? Ryan Thibodeau says hashtag Fickell and Kendall Briles. That would be a deadly, a very deadly combination. A very deadly combination. You know, I'd be. I'm trying to think. I don't know. We'll see. I missed this one. Derek says, coach from Coastal Carolina. You're talking about Jamie Caldwell. Guys, they kind of run I don't think LSU fans would like their offensive scheme. They run a spread like triple option attack. I don't know how well that would do in the SEC. Dale Broussard says, is that a sissy blue undershirt? It is. Let me show you what this undershirt is. It is my Sticks shirt for Cedric Harris. If you don't remember, the former baseball player who lost his son in a tragic accident, ATV accident. Tragically lost his, I think his son was 14 years old. And look, man, when someone with LSU who goes through something like that, you support them. They were doing this function or thing where they were selling shirts to help him and his family. So that is my sissy blue shirt. If this makes me a sissy, I will be a sissy all day long and twice today. All right, last one, then we'll get to some around the SEC and some more LSU. Kenny Russell says James Franklin, Luke Fickell, Lane Kiffin, Hugh Freeze, or Billy Napier. I don't mind any of those, to be honest with you guys. Like, I don't mind any of those. We'll see. I'm surprised, as C. King says here, I am surprised that not more people are talking about Joe Brady. You guys, I alluded to it earlier in my show, what my thoughts would be on Joe Brady being your next head coach. But C. King says, Joe Brady, make him say no. I understand he doesn't like to recruit, but LSU recruits itself. I just do have my worries about him as a first-time head coach cutting his teeth, at LSU, because, I mean, you're seeing an offensive coordinator that's never been a head coach. Or do you want a guy cutting his teeth as a head coach at LSU? But look, I'd be on the bandwagon if he is. I'm just saying there are some concerns. Roger says, my thoughts exactly. We know he can put offense out there. Look, and kind of transition. Oh, my God. No, Cody. Come on, bro. Cody. For everybody listening on the podcast, Cody said Tom Herman. Cody, I know you joking. My good buddy Chase Orgeron says, hi, Blake. Bye, Blake. Chase, I love you. Chase, I love you, buddy. But look, I'm going to keep it real with you. Your cousin ain't doing so hot right now. I love you. I love you to death. I love you to death. But, man, look, he's a game above 500 in the last 2 seasons. He you know. So, no. Look, your next couple of games, you go to Lexington, you got Florida at home, you got Ole Miss on the road, and then you got Alabama. Orgeron ain't winning 3 of those 4. He's not. It's not happening. So we might as well. And look, I will gladly eat my words if I'm wrong. Gladly. If he loses 2 of the next 3, he will go below 500 in 2 seasons. That's unacceptable. That can't happen. Gonzo the Clown, fired. Pink sheeted. Cody says, just joking, thought you need a good laugh. That's true. That's true. My former coach, Chris Garrett, now the head coach at Hannon, says Brett Beard. You might need to send that to Beard. I'm sure he'd love it. All right, so let's kind of go a little Jacob says, dang, I hurt for Chase. Yeah, I hate it for Chase too. But look, Chase says it sucks more when you're related. That's true. That's true. AB says Fedora. No. So let's go around the SEC. We kind of talked about LSU schedule, and we'll continue to talk about LSU. If you have your comments, fire them in here. Fire in your Rudy Poos of the week as well. So everybody, if you have a Rudy Poo of the week, if you don't know what a Rudy Poo of the week is, somebody that you didn't like that they did something in sports this week, fire them in there, and we'll put them up here. Look, going around the SEC this week, I said this a week ago. I'll continue to say it. The number 1 team in the country, in my opinion, is Georgia. And I don't really think that it's close. Everybody's saying that Arkansas stunk. Arkansas did not stink. Arkansas doesn't stink. They might compete to be the 2nd or 3rd best team in the SEC West, and that is not stinking. They will lose to Alabama. That's kind of a given. They are as I called them last week, they're the great value Coca-Cola. But Georgia physically dominated them on both lines of scrimmage. I know what everybody's going to say. Blake, everybody talks about Georgia every year. This is nothing new. They're not that good. They got Stetson Bennett at quarterback. I'm okay with Stetson Bennett. Guys, they beat the number 6 team. This is the difference, though. Arkansas worked their way up to the number 6 team in the country. What other teams outside of Georgia and Alabama have separated themselves right now? Do you think that Penn State can beat Georgia? I don't. Do you think Cincinnati with that defense can beat Georgia? No, we saw it last year. They can't. Do you think that Iowa can? No. I promise you, Iowa can't do it. They cannot do it. There's not a team out west with Oregon losing this past Saturday. There is not a team that has shown us to date that can compete with Georgia or Alabama. Now, in the beginning of the season, I had my worries about Georgia. Didn't think that they were that great. Boy, was I wrong. I thought Alabama replacing a lot would have struggles. And the one thing I was right about, I said during all of the offseason that Alabama worries me with all of the off-field struggles that they have, and they would suffer very early. And they did. I say suffer, but they would be challenged and face a lot of adversity early in the season. That they have. But they showed last week that they can run the football and that Bill O'Brien's a very, very, very smart offensive mind. And if we can out-athlete you, we're going to find ways to run the football. I'm not even going to talk about Vanderbilt. Let's talk a little bit of Kentucky, as we'll be talking a lot of Kentucky this week. Florida is a very winnable game. If we're finding wins in the season, Florida is a very winnable game for LSU. Kentucky's also a very winnable game if you can find a way to actually put up points and not be incompetent, but LSU hasn't done that yet. LSU hasn't shown that they can do that. However, they are a very physical team up front. Quite honestly, they're the second team in the East. They are the second best team in the SEC East. Y'all see this fly keep flying around? Golly, there's always some shit going on. They are the second best team in the East. You are facing the second best team in the SEC East this week. Now, can LSU find a way to beat them? I don't think so. I think and we'll talk about them a lot, Kentucky's strengths, offensively and defensively, are LSU's weaknesses. That doesn't mix well. That never mixes well. And when that doesn't mix well, you can look, and LSU never plays very well in Lexington. You can get your ass beat. Florida's taking a step back, but look, I don't think that they're freaking out. I don't know if Florida fans are freaking out because, look, you had a great season last year. Dan Mullen, although a great offensive mind, he's not a great head coach. There's a reason none of you fired in here and said, Dan Mullen, he's not a good head coach. He's just not. Not a great recruiter, brilliant offensive mind. He's just a weird dude. He's Cousin Eddie. He is a weird cat. So, around the SEC, we go. Jackson Carter says Bill O'Brien with the curse word emojis. Jacob Cole says, I wouldn't be opposed. Blaine Smith says, if Price is there to block. If Price is there to block, then just bring an extra offensive lineman. Oh, if you're talking about, yeah, I see what you're saying. Well, he needs to be out in coverage. Out in coverage. He needs to be out in a route. Eric fires in our first hashtag Rudy Poo of the week and says, Coach O. Boy, we should have known that would be the first Rudy Poo of the week. Look, he's my Rudy Poo of the week. Outside of Spectrum, who's incompetent, he is my Rudy Poo of the week. Followed by Jake Peets. And if Woodward doesn't get this ball rolling, which I know that he probably is, he will be my Rudy Poo of the week. I hate losing more than I love to win. I'm a horrible loser. Jeff Neal says, did Blake just say that? If you're talking about Kentucky, yes, I've been saying it all summer. But you're too chain. Guys, I don't know if you remember Jeff in the Burrow. If people that listen to the Bill King show and listen to me, Jeff in the Burrow is a hard chain smoker from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Big Kentucky fan. He has a little bit of success. And he thinks that they won the national title. Jeff, I'm going to tell you this. You better pray to God y'all win Saturday. Now, it's looking pretty favorable right now, and a lot of things are in your favor. But you better pray to sweet baby Jesus. You better pray to sweet baby Jesus that you win. Because if y'all don't beat LSU, especially this LSU team, I'm going to be insufferable and all over your ass. Because here's the truth. You send me too many emails. You send me an email like every other day or something like that, and I never really read them. I do read them some, but you better pray. But Kentucky's a good team. Mark says $17 million for Ed, $4 million for staff. It ain't gonna be that way, Mark. Read what I'm telling you. Jeffrey says, Rudy Poo of the week this whole damn season. Saturdays aren't even the same anymore when LSU loses 2 games in September. That is true. Jess Newbill says Kentucky is going to beat LSU. Our running game is garbage. I like this one from Jay Everett on Facebook. Says Rudy Poo of the week to Missouri. I like that. Guys, Missouri's so bad. They are so stinking bad. And look, that's a game that we didn't talk about because it's not headline really. But Josh Heupel, the new offensive head coach for Tennessee, guys, they're going to put up points. I promise you, you don't want to see Tennessee right now. Tennessee is going to upset somebody that they're not supposed to. I'm telling you that right now. They're going to beat a team that they have no business beating. I don't think that it's Alabama. Maybe Kentucky, a team that they're really probably not supposed to beat. If I'm Kentucky, because Kentucky can't score enough, in my opinion, to keep up with Tennessee. The defense and the O-line, the D-line's really good. But okay. All right, everybody makes fun of Tennessee and the cash that Jeremy Pruitt put in the McDonald's bags. All right? But he's probably going to lose. He's probably going to lose. Carl the Cat says, Rudy Poo of the week, Tiger Stadium, not Death Valley anymore. Carl, I don't necessarily agree with that, man. I mean, look, you're at some point we got to realize as fans and as human beings that we are still during a pandemic. Like, I think that we all need to realize that. And guys, it was more electric than it's been in 2 years. Carl, I don't agree with you there. Jeffrey Teal says Rudy Poo of the week, me for drinking the Kool-Aid off season. Very fair of you. Pooh Bear says, what's the difference between LSU and Tennessee right now? Tennessee is showing fight when they lose. There's not a lie there. There's not a lie. And if you play Tennessee right now, you get your ass beat. Because that team's gaining confidence. Guys, it's not good. Understand the gravity of what's going on. Like, when I talk to people, I don't know if they fully understand the gravity of what's going on right now with LSU. Guys, you're not good. And it's not that you don't have talent, because you do have talent. LSU has talent. You don't have competent coaching. You hired 2 guys that are inexperienced. Thank God Durante Jones somewhat is hitting. Thank God. Because if you think, oh, well, you play Mississippi State and you played Auburn, well, shit, how did A&M do against Mississippi State? And that team's going to put up points. He's your best coach right now. And everybody's saying it's Corey Raymond. I'm sorry, it's not. Corey's kind of checked out from what I hear. So, you hit on one of them. You want to know why Saban has so much success? Everybody thinks it's defense. And I get it. He's a defensive coach. He's a defensive mind. He saw the writing on the wall. There's not a lot of difference between Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian, and Bill O'Brien. The plays are different. Some of the schemes are different. Yeah, Sark maybe ran a little bit more RPOs. Lane did this. Bill O'Brien likes to go 2 tight ends. But it's still the same thing. Get players in space, run the football effectively, because their defense isn't world beaters. They had a great showing this past Saturday. But, guys, we were talking a couple of weeks ago when Florida put it on that ass. Florida put it on that ass. So, no, I mean, The thing that makes Nick so good is he knows what to do on both sides of the ball. Brian Daboll, y'all remember that story? comes over the headset, tells Dayball, hey, listen, Kirby's about to run a cover 2 here because he sacked us. It's 2nd and 26. Take a shot. The balls on the man. Y'all don't like hearing that. But at some point, you got to get over the man that sold his soul to Satan. In 92 LX Hatch. Any news on Stingley doctor appointment? No. Some people have told me he needs surgery. Some people said he needs time to heal. Personally, I don't think he's taking another snap. Why would he? Blaine Smith says Woodward about to clean house. He better clean out that administration too. I mean, I'm talking about everybody. Clean out the whole damn house. It's spring cleaning time, dog. Couple more. We're going to get out of here. Look, Tommy Moffitt's a friend, but Mike says LSU needs to fire Tommy Moffitt also. Again, clean house, man. I like Tommy a lot. Ryan Thibodeau says Rudy Poos of the week, Lane Kiffin, and Danielle Mullen. I like those. Brandon says Rudy Poos of the week, me for defending O all offseason. Me too. I'm there with you. Michael Ray says Rudy Poos of the week, grab her by the Urban Meyer. Oh, God, that's so good. I saw nobody said Urban Meyer in here either. I mean, that man legitimately was getting grinded up on. I mean, that girl, the blonde with the woody, if you don't know what a woody is, it's a white girl with a booty, was backing that ass all up on him. And people, I had one AYS follower tell me that Urban's right hand was like the blood of Jesus casting out Satan. My God. Oh, Urban Meyer. All right, let's get to 3 more of these and we're out. Jeffrey Till says, how long until we're relevant again if we clean house? A year. You got the talent. Brandon says, hashtag ask Blake, who will be the interim? I would give it to Mickey Joseph, or I would maybe give it to Durante Jones. He's the most mature person in that building. I'd say either Mickey Joseph. And look, man, if you can convince Steve Ensminger to take it over for a time being, that's what I do. All right, last one. Brent says, I thought Meyer retired from college coaching anyway. I would expect he's about to be back. All right, guys, we will see y'all tomorrow night. Y'all have a good night. It was a very fun show. We'll see y'all soon. Peace out, Girl Scouts.